Hi everyone, in this video I want to provide a little bit of an update on my training and kind of how my injury is going, and it's actually good news, and kind of talk about some other random shenanigans. So I guess there'll be two parts of this video, my injury update and random shenanigans. So is that, without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first part that I want to talk about is an injury update. If you followed the last video or the last couple, I don't know how long I've been complaining about this little nagging injury that I've had about my IT band on my right leg. It just gets aggravated when I get to the bottom of the squat and try to come back up. It would kind of twinge in pain. But today, I took a couple days off, partially because of school and partially because of that injury. I also had a dodgeball thing with my school that I did that wore out my legs a little bit. I also had a deadlifting day, which if you saw the last video I posted, it was that earlier in the week. I didn't do any other squatting throughout the week. That was about the only leg stuff that I did was that deadlift session. But today I wanted to front squat, but I wanted to be cautious about it. I wanted to be smart about it. So I started out with the leg press, and I started just with the machine with no weight. Then I put 90 pounds on, then I put 180 pounds on, and I was just doing really slow, cautious reps to see how my IT band was feeling, because I figured if it was really aggravated and really still injured, that it would flare up on there, and then I could just cut it off there without having to worry about setting up a bar to squat or anything. But it held up fine there. I really didn't have hardly anything. I mean, it was a slight, barely anything, probably like a 1 if I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10 of discomfort in that. Nothing out of what I would normally deal with any sort of lift. But then I moved on to do front squats, and I started with a bar. I did 10 reps. I put on 25 pounds on it, so I put 95 pounds. I did 10 reps, and I was really cautious on the way down and way up. And the pain from before to today was a lot better. I would say if I had to use that same scale, as I progressed up in my warm-up sets, it stayed at about a 2 or 3. At the highest, it was probably a 3, and it was probably a 2 at most of the time, because I was really cautious with my warm-up sets, and in between every one of my sets, I was using, let me grab it, my trusty old PVZ pipe to work on the side of my leg, and also my butt and my lower back, all that sort of area that kind of connects that all, in order to help alleviate the pain that I was dealing with. And it worked actually quite well, because I ended up taking a little bit more time in between sets, especially with my warm-ups, because generally I like to work quickly with my warm-ups, but I took more time in between so I could use this a little bit and to allow my body to really warm up. So I was doing higher reps with the lower weights and giving myself more time to rest, which helped a lot. I was able to progress in the weight up to, it was for 2 singles at 285, and those felt really good. I mean, they were heavy, and I did them without a belt as well, which was really good as well. But my IT band still feels really good now, because that was the big question mark that I had, is how it would feel after I work out. Because even when I was dealing with it when it was more flared up, I would still be able to generally lift fine, go through my warm-ups in pain, and then once I got to my top sets it was fine, and then it would just be really sore and painful for days after that, and tight when I would stretch. But so far it's been really good, and hopefully I can continue to be more cautious with it, and kind of be nice to my body, and to be listening to what my IT band wants to do. I probably won't try to squat again till Tuesday. I haven't decided yet fully. I want to do some deadlifts tomorrow, but obviously those won't be from the full flexion that will bother my IT band, so those haven't been an issue even at the worst part with those. So hopefully I can continue to be making progress to being 100% healthy, because my squats have continued to feel really good even when I was dealing with the pain. They were still moving really well, so I wanted to be able to continually to progress in that regard, and to put weight on squats in general, because I do want to build my quads up a little bit, because that will just help in general with my squat obviously, and also with my deadlift as well. But yeah, that's really about it. So it's all good news on that front, and I'll just have to continue to be cautious with that, and try not to flare it up, and to make sure whenever I do any sort of squatting movements that I spend extra time warming up. Hopefully I won't have to spend extra time warming up for the rest of my life, but I'm sure at some point, as I get older into my upper years as hopefully not now because I'm still young, but hopefully or eventually once I get older, I'm sure I will have to spend a lot more time warming up, but hopefully not now because that's more time that I have to spend, and I'd rather spend more time working on mobility stuff than trying to just massage a muscle over and over in order to make that one muscle work. But hopefully I continue to progress in that regard, and my other lips aren't bothered by that TBN, which is really nice, because even if that flares up, I can still do deadlifts and bench, which is really nice. But yeah, that's really about it that I have to talk about as far as my update with my IT band. So all good news on that front. So for the other part of this video, the random shenanigans, there's a couple different things that I want to talk about. The first thing is that the gym that I'm at is a very positive environment. I've talked to several people, and I'm not a very social person. I'm not going to walk up and start making conversation with someone unless I'm friends with them, but I've had several people come up to me and make conversation about different things, and it's always been extremely pleasant and good conversation and stuff that I don't mind having while I'm working out. And it's making me like the atmosphere a lot more. When I first got there, all the equipment was great. I could do all my lifts, I could record everything. Everything was great on that regard, and if no one ever interacted with me with whatever, I would have been fine with that because I had all the equipment I need, I had ability to record, all that sort of shenanigans. But the fact that like people are interested in what I'm doing, or they give me a compliment about my squats, or they ask about the YouTube page, or any of that sort of things, it makes the experience better, because then you have that more of that community feel, which is something that I don't need as much. If I didn't have it, then I wouldn't be like, I need to find the lifting community so I can be motivated. It's more of an extra benefit to the gym. It's kind of like if you have a special machine in there. I'm trying to think of one that I may use, and I can't think of it for the life of me. One machine. Say there was like a pull down machine. I don't know. That's the last machine that I used, I think. Or a leg press or a hack squat. If there wasn't a hack squat machine in the gym, it wouldn't make it a bad gym. But the fact that it has a hack squat machine enhances the ability, or enhances the general gym itself, because I have that extra resource there that can help benefit me generally as well. But if there wasn't a hack squat, it wasn't as if I wouldn't make any progress or wouldn't be motivated to work out with that. And that's kind of how that community thing feels. It enhances it, but it isn't as if I wouldn't be able to function if I didn't have that socialization there, because I'm a pretty introverted guy, so it's not as if I mind not talking to people when I work out. It's not as if I'm like itching to talk to people all the time and be a social butterfly. But yeah, so that's the first thing I wanted to mention with that. So the gym atmosphere is great, and that's enhancing just my general experience there, and I really like the place I'm at, and hopefully that has a positive carryover just to my benefit, or my quality of my general workouts that I do. So yeah, and the other thing that I wanted to mention was, one of the conversations I had with someone that talked to me today was talking about creatine and the benefits and negatives and all that sort of stuff related to that. And it's not as if I want to discredit every person you talk to in the gym when they talk to you about anything. A lot of people do know what they're talking about and have done the research and have a lot of that knowledge, but I think probably more often than what it should, people take what they hear in the gym as being 100% true and take it to be valid without trying to verify it themselves. And with the internet, the way that it works, and with the amount of information that is available at your fingertips at a very quick rate, if you have even halfway decent internet, you can find answers for just about any questions you have related to nutrition. The conversation that we had today, that I had today with that guy, was about creatine. I could find paper after scientific paper about the benefits of creatine, or how creatine works, or how creatine works against a placebo, and all those different things related to what creatine does and what it doesn't do, and the health benefits and health negatives, and everything that you can imagine. And not just from a BuzzFeed article or some random article that you find, but from like scientific journals done at universities where they do these big long studies using these different substances. So the information's out there, and it's freely available for the vast majority of the time. And even if it's not freely available, if you contact a lot of exercise physiology professors, Eventually one of them is going to contact you back, but probably a lot of them will, because from what I found, a lot of professors love talking about what their profession is, if it's exercise physiology, talking about nutrition and all that sort of stuff. But if you ask them questions about, how does creatine work, or how should I use creatine, or how should I use whey protein, or any of that sort of stuff, you're probably going to find an answer from someone somewhere, whether you look up a scientific paper or you contact an exercise physiologist or someone that's in nutrition. You're going to find an answer, and you're going to be able to find multiple sources that confirm what is currently shown by scientific evidence, and that's important if you're looking for what you need to do for nutrition, or what you should do for nutrition, or what you shouldn't do for your nutrition or supplementation. You have to just look at what's out there as far as the information of what's been confirmed, or at least confirmed to a high success rate, or high, I guess success rate, that's a good way to say it, with a high rate compared to what other things people talk about. Someone says, oh, creatine can destroy your kidneys. Well, if I look that up and say, like, well, there's these 8 scientific papers that say, no, there's no negative effects to these, to creatine use, or if someone says, oh, this Rich Piana's 5% pre-workout supplements is a great thing. Well, if someone researches it and looks in like, well, there's all this crap in it doesn't really do anything, it's more of the placebo, then you can be a more informed person in general, but you can also be more informed about what you need to do for your nutrition and supplementation in order to get the most out of those things. Because it's not as if someone didn't take any pre-workout or creatine or any vitamins or any of that sort of stuff, it's not as if they wouldn't progress. But what supplementation does, it kind of aids, it supplements what you're doing. And it's important to have good supplements to get the most out of those, because you could take a placebo and you can get a little bit of an effect out of placebo, but you want an effect that is actually beneficial to what you're doing. A big thing is like caffeine. Like if you don't know how much caffeine you're taking, or how much it takes for you to get a good effect to it, or that you're actually taking caffeine, if you take some fancy pre-workout, it may not even have that much caffeine in it, or it may have way too much caffeine in it. It's important to know what a good effect is, what a good benefit is. If taking above a certain amount of caffeine is going to just have a null effect, so there's no point in taking more of that, or if you take so little that it's going to have no effect as well. Finding what you need as far as your supplementation, and not relying on what people tell you in the gym. What people tell you in the gym can be a good starting point. If someone comes up to you and is talking about creatine, saying it's bad for your kidneys, it's bad for this and that, it's horrible, you can get really strong with it, but then it's bad, or whatever the conversation may be about whatever supplement, that can be a good starting point. Be like, all right, so the premise is creatine can get you a lot stronger really quickly, and that it will be bad for your kidneys, and that a doctor says not to take it because it's bad for your kidneys. If that's the premise, then you can go and kind of approach it in a scientific way and say, all right, this paper says creatine is beneficial to putting on strength, but it isn't as extreme as that guy talked about. All right, this paper says there's no negative effects on your kidneys when you have creatine. All right, my friend who's in exercise physiology, when I asked him, he says all the research confirms, whatever about creatine. You can confirm or disprove what it is, and find what is the most true evidence, because some, science does change based on new evidence. But when there's a lot of evidence towards one idea, then it tends to be supported pretty well, and it tends to be a good way to approach different things. But I'll end the video here because I feel like I've ranted for a while. But let me know what you think about the video in general, and if you have any thoughts about my IT band and all that sort of shenanigans, let me know. And if you have any thoughts about the random shenanigans that I also talked about, of course let me know about that down below as well. And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.